All right, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to Coach Cook in a Corner, and I'm going to be going over chapter one for you guys. I'll be reviewing for you guys chapter one in case you guys were not able to attend a lecture or you had some problems with the lecture. We can always come back over here, look at our objectives as well. Okay, so chapter one, learning objective one is we're going to describe the immediate long term rewards of healthy behaviors and the effects of your healthy choices. Okay, so basically, what we talked about is we have to choose now. Okay, and why now? Because how we act today is how we are tomorrow. Okay, we talked about several things that we gotta do is take care of our short-term goals and our long-term goals, and that way we can have a prosperous future. What we do today affects tomorrow. Okay, in section 1.1 in the chart we have the top 10 reported impedances for students in the past 12 months, and we have stress, anxiety, sleep difficulties, depression, cold, flu, sore throat, work, extracurricular activities, concern for family member, friends, internet use, computer games, relationship difficulties. Okay, of course, whether your times are normal or where you're living in a pandemic, it's going to vary greatly. When times are normal, this would be a great chart to look at, and it would also be interesting to see how this would alter with if the pandemic numbers were to be monitored as well. Okay, table 1.1 is the leading causes of death in the United States for all ages, diseases of the heart, uh, Mammalian cancer, chronic lower respiratory diseases, accidents, central vascular diseases of the stroke. Okay, whether you're 15 to 24, 25 to 44, 45 to 46, 65 and older. Okay, these are these are all in order according to age group. Okay, and again, choose now. Your personal choices affect your mortality. Mortality is the rates and deaths of our statistics. What's your mortality, whether you're up to living up to age 60 or 70, okay, which is a prelude to your life expectancy, okay? So your mortality is based on how you take care of yourself and if you will actually meet your life expectancy, which is about 70, 78 average for around males and females, okay? Um, and it has greatly increased over the past 100 years. Okay, 78.6 is what the book is telling us here. All right, so it talks about infant mortality, deaths due to obesity and chronic disease, death of despair, and these are more that we'll talk about in further chapters. Okay, going on to chapter 1, subsection 2. Okay, and bear with me because I'm just going on internet connection. The objective is compare and contrast the medical model of health and the public model. Okay, medical model of health is prior to the 20th century, perceptions of health were dominated by the medical model, in which health status focused primarily on the individual, on his or her tissues and organs. That's the medical model. Okay, so they focus on your tissues and your organs. Okay, the public health model, okay, or the ecological model, all right, which views diseases and other negative health events as a result of an individual's interactions with his or her social environment. So basically, how you interact, if you take care of yourself, or how you interact amongst your society, that's the public health model. Okay, so that's the difference between medical model and public health model. All right, talk about risky behaviors. All right, risky behaviors that health promotion programs identify people who are engaging in risky behaviors. If they're not identified, they're considered to be affecting your mortality. Okay, and when they are identified, they tend to actually focus on it. And an example of this would be the 10 greatest public health achievements of the 20th century. So once they identify them, they're able to bring them down. Okay, vaccinations, motor vehicle safety, workspace safety, control of infectious diseases, reduction in heart disease, safe and healthy foods, maternal and infant care, family planning, fluoridated drinking water, recognition of tobacco as a health hazard. So once they recognize them, they actually have safety protocols so that it can help you decrease your risks and increase your life. The wellness continuum, figure 1.3, at the far left, it's irreversible disability or death. And then you have chronic illness, signs of illness. And then you have the neutral point. Then you have signs of health, improved health and wellness, optimal wellness. So basically, what that's telling you is that your life, you're either at optimal wellness, which is the very best, or you're close to death, which is irreversible disability. Okay, and in between you have you can either move up or move down. Okay, and if you're at the at the very far right, you're at the very optimal wellness, and if you're very far to the left, you're pretty much close to death. Okay, we have physical health, social health, intellectual health, emotional health, spiritual health, environmental health, which we cover more in chapter 2. Physical health is let's say for example you deal with your temperature. Are you 98.6? Is your nose breathing right? Are your lungs at good capacity? What is your oxygen saturation level? Okay, things of that nature. Your social health, are you able to get along with people? Not necessarily mean you have 2,000 friends on Facebook. Does that mean that you're socially healthy? Intellectual health, if you're able to analyze, criticize, use your brain power effectively. Emotional health, if you're able to control your emotions and live a long, prosperous day. Spiritual health is if you're actually able to um, feel uh, feel from within your soul. Okay, you have your mind, body, your soul. How you feel after you meditate and pray. Okay, environmental health would be several instances such as like we live in a great city in which we have very low incidences of environmental damage. For example, Laredo, we have good quality of air. Our water system is fairly clean. Okay, as opposed to some cities where Mexico City, where it's like the most foggiest city in the world, and they have to like buy oxygen tanks. Okay, so those are dimensions of health that's covered in section 1.2. Moving over to section 1.3, what influences your health? What influences your health? Identify modifiable and non-modifiable personal, social, environmental factors that influence your health. Okay, so your individual behavior, you influence yourself. You have to listen to yourself. Your friends and your family, your biology, your genetics, your health services, your accessibility to health services. Before the pandemic, you would have your nurse on campus. You would have your city you know accessibility as well. Policy making, what policies, for example, you cannot drink until you're 21, and that helps you for your health. It actually helps you to prevent DWIs. And of course, social factors that we have out there that help us influence our lifestyle. Like say for example, Laredo every weekend, if it's not Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, one of those days you're going to be at a cookout with alcohol and lots of beer, and many drinks, and more than likely, not doesn't mean that you are okay, but that would be a social factor, okay, and if that happens, Laredo does have a high obesity rate and high, liver damage, disease, okay, so individual behavior, lack of physical activity, poor nutrition, excessive alcohol and tobacco use, you are affecting your life expectancy. Okay, again, you don't exercise, you're not doing yourself any good. We figure 1.6, and again, this can vary from whether you're in a pandemic or not. Of course, more time you spend on the TV, the more time you eat junk food, the more time you smoke and you drink alcohol. Okay, whether it's beer or mixed drinks with alcohol. So basically, this chapter is telling you is that just eat right and avoid alcohol and avoid tobacco, and that's how you're taking care of yourself. Biologically, let's say for example, if some diseases they are inherited, so that's biologically okay. Genetically would be if your mom has glaucoma, you might have glaucoma. Biology would be some factors that you can control. Okay, biology and genetic determinants are things you can't typically change or modify. Health experts frequently refer to these as non-modifiable ones. Okay, um, we cannot influence the structure of our genes. The emerging fields is increasingly linking aspects to our diet, physical activity, and others. So those things you can control. Some people, even though they do exercise, they still might have some issues. Okay, but those are things that they cannot control, but they can still attempt to alleviate. Okay. Um, let's see. pollutants and infectious agents, physical conditions, the air we breathe. Fortunately, we live in a city where our air is of fair quality, as opposed to living to some places where some people might live in the jungle and they're worried and they have Ebola or Zika virus, or polio or wild polio. So the pollutants and the infectious agents are of concern for these neighborhoods. Okay, access to quality health service, again, your school nurse, the local authorities, the state authorities, and the federal authorities. What accessibility do you have to them, and what accessibility do they make for you? Okay, and they're out there, especially right now with COVID testing. It's either the city or the state that's testing you. All right, so we move over to 1.4, mindfulness. Okay, mindful behavior is the path to optimal health. Basically, it's telling you that you have to stop, relax, okay, and be happy. All right. A veritable explosion of media outlets have promoting a shift to mindful behavior as a path to optimal health. If you've seen these claims, you may be wondering whether or not they're backed by evidence. Okay, being mindful than you. Definitions of mindful, they vary, but mostly share a certain essential component. These include being present in the moment through awareness of yourself, your sensations, thoughts and feelings, and your environment, through avoidance of evaluation, qualification, and judgment. Okay, so being mindful, and what are the benefits of being mindful? The current surge in the interest of mindful can be explained into the growing body of research evidence linked to the practice of improved health. So basically, if you stop and relax and learn how to focus on your stress by telling yourself it's going to be okay, your quality of life will be better. The practice of mindfulness, it's increasing. Okay, and how many times you walk to class without noticing anything in your path as your mind rehearsed to quarrel you and had you roommates or a romantic encounter the night before? So if you're focused on your class, you might not notice things around you because you're actually thinking about it, and you might have your mind on something else. Next thing you know, you go to class and you're like, oh, I just got to class without even me knowing it. Okay, so being mindful of your situation, all right, and just putting your mind to achieve your immediate and long-term goals. Learning objective 5, compare and contrast the health model, the social cognitive, the trans theoretical, and explain how you might use them in a specific behavior change. Health belief model. Okay, a belief is an appraisal, a relationship between some object, action, or idea. Okay, the health belief model to show when beliefs affect change or behave. The HBM holds that several factors must support a belief before change is likely to play. Perceived seriousness of the health problem. The more serious the problem is perceived, the more likely action will be taken. Okay, perceived suspectability of the health problem. People who perceive themselves at higher risk are more likely to take preventative action. And think about the pandemic here. Okay, we're all at serious risk. We all are susceptible if we feel that we have some added morbidity. Some of us have diabetes, or some of us have underlying issues. Then we're susceptibility of health problem. Perceived benefits, people are more likely to take action if they believe the action will benefit for them. So if your doctor tells you if you exercise, you will be physically healthier and your heart will be in better shape for you. So you're going to run more because it's perceived that you're going to have benefits for it. Okay? If a recommended action is perceived to be effective, the individual may believe it's too expensive, difficult, inconvenient. And remember, we have the acronym SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time. Okay? So if it's possible, you can do it. If not, you probably won't be too much into it, and you might consider it as a barrier. Cues to action: a person who is reminded or alerted to a potential health problem by anything from early symptom or an email to a healthcare provider is more likely to take action. Social cognitive model, developed from the work of several researchers over decades by Albert and Bandura. Okay, social cognitive model, fundamentally the most proposes the three factors that interact with the reciprocal fashion to promote and motivate change. These are the social environment in which we live, our thoughts or cognition. Okay, if we observe a family member successfully quitting smoking, we are more apt to believe we can do it also. You're like, if grandma can do it, so can I. Okay, so that's a social cognitive model. By looking at your immediate family or your friends, they can do it, so can you. Trans theoretical model, a behavior change, can change. Usually, does not succeed if we start with the change of a life itself. Instead, we must go through a series, and here we have three things: pre-contemplation. Okay, before you even try, you could be doubting yourself or thinking about it. Contemplation, people recognize that they have a problem, begin to contemplate the need to change. Preparation, most people at this point are close to taking action. Action, at this stage, people begin to follow their action plan. Maintenance, once you accomplish your goal, you actually have to keep it there. And termination, by this point, the behavior is so ingrained that the constant vigilance may be unnecessary. The new behavior become part of daily life. So you reduce to eliminate, um, or you continue to reduce. Okay, reduce to eliminate. Okay, that is my wrap up for chapter 1. If you all have any questions, please also you can look at your book. We can look at your PowerPoints. We all have access to Pearson, and you can use the Access Yourself. There's some quizzes there that you can use as well to check for knowledge. Thank you.